Hello guys, welcome to another video. Today we're gonna talk about life in Portugal. More precisely, 8 advantages of living in Portugal. And before we start the usual talk, you already know it, you probably have heard it more than 100 times since we already have more than 100 videos on the channel. If you want to travel, move or invest abroad, hit the like button, check our other videos, book a consultation call with me, the link is in the description. And most importantly, follow the advice of every other YouTuber, subscribe! Let's start! The first great advantage of living in Portugal is how inexpensive it is to get a residence permit in the country. As you probably know, there are many ways to become a resident in Portugal, may it be with the D7 visa for passive income earners, or the D2 visa if you want to start a business, or simply by finding a job. Portugal is really flexible when it comes to allowing you to stay in the country. Let's compare Portugal with other countries in this regard. First of all, most European countries do not even have a residence permit category for retirees or passive income earners. Let's say you want to retire in Germany or Croatia. There is no specific residence permit category for you to do so. Unless you are an EU citizen, you need another type of residence permit to live there. But in Portugal, that will certainly not be the problem, as you can use the D7 visa as a gateway to reside in Portugal as a retiree. The financial requirements to get a residence permit in Portugal are among the lowest in Europe. Let's say you have a passive income of 1,500 euros per month, or your pension amounts to 1,000 euros a month. In Portugal, this type of income will render you eligible for the D7, while in Spain or Italy, your income has to be close to 3,000 euros per month to get a similar visa. The same applies regarding the business residence permit, which starts with a D2 visa. You can be a self-employed person and get this residence permit to run your business in Portugal. In many other EU countries, you will need to hire locals to run a business. In Croatia, for example, you need to hire 3 EU citizens in order to qualify for a business residence permit. In Poland or Lithuania, you will also need to hire locals to establish your business residency. Let's go to the second advantage. One of the key advantages of Portugal is how fast you can get Portuguese citizenship and thus become an EU citizen, compared to the majority of other EU nations. In Portugal, you need to reside constantly in the country for just 5 years before you can apply for citizenship. I believe this is a huge advantage, especially if your ultimate goal is not just living in Europe, but also becoming an EU citizen. One can definitely argue that 5 years is a long time, but the truth is, in most other countries, you'll need to live considerably more time before you can apply for citizenship. If we check the nationality law of other EU countries, we can confirm that. Let's take the example of Germany. In normal circumstances, you need to live in Germany 8 years before you can apply. In Spain, just next to Portugal, you need to live 10 years in normal circumstances before you can apply for citizenship. There are exceptions that may allow you to apply for citizenship in Spain in just 2 years, but for most foreigners in the country, you need to do the 10 years before you can apply. In Austria or Latvia, for example, you need to reside 10 years before you can apply for citizenship in most cases. The other advantage of acquiring Portuguese citizenship is that Portugal allows dual citizenship, which is also the case in some other European countries. But in other countries, you need to renounce your previous citizenship before you can get your European passport. The next advantage of Portugal is its climate. One of the most obvious advantages of living in Portugal is the climate. The coast of Portugal especially has what is likely to be the best climate of Europe. Let's understand why. Portugal has a lower latitude than most European countries, which translates to more sunny days year-round, and also shorter, milder winters. But that is not everything, as countries like Greece, Cyprus and Malta also have lower latitudes. The other advantage of Portugal is the ocean. The Atlantic Ocean breeze makes the hot summer days in Portugal less severe, however, that applies mostly to the coast. So if you're a fan of mild days and always avoid extreme cold and hot days, the Portuguese coast is probably one of the best bets if you want to live in Europe. An important advantage of living in Portugal is how well it is connected to other countries in North and South America, as well as in Europe. If you live in the US, especially in the East Coast, as well as in Canada, there are direct flights to Portugal. The same applies to Brazil and Argentina. If you're coming from another European country, the airports in Porto and Lisbon are likely to have a direct connection to your country of origin. If we compare Portugal with some other countries like Greece, Albania, Croatia and Malta, Portugal ranks at the top regarding the best connectivity. Other countries, however, like Spain and Italy, are better connected than Portugal. The next advantage is perhaps the most relevant one regarding Portugal, and it is its relatively low cost of living. A good part of those interested in moving to Portugal are not actually looking to find a job in the country. They are usually digital nomads, retirees, and investors. Apart from all the other advantages previously mentioned, Portugal managed to attract people with a single and yet effective proposition. You will spend less here than in the country where you're coming from. Despite the fact that the Portugal real estate market is thriving, and this is pushing rental prices up, the other elements composing the cost of living are actually pretty favorable in Portugal. You can have a coffee in Portugal for less than what it would cost even in Slovakia. You can have lunch for less than 10 euros in so many places. You'll spend less on heating in Portugal. Most services are just a fraction of what they cost in the US, including cleaning, healthcare, and even if you need to find someone to walk your cat, that will also cost less in Portugal. Now let's talk about safety, which is the next advantage of living in Portugal. People who are not from Europe sometimes tend to imagine that the whole continent has similar levels of safety, but that is not really the case. Some European cities are specifically problematic when it comes to public safety, like Malmö in Sweden or Marseille in France. In Portugal, however, things are different. Portugal is actually one of the safest countries not only in Europe, but in the world. The capital of Portugal, Lisbon, is often ranked as one of the safest capitals on the planet. Other cities, which are considerably smaller, tend to be even safer than Lisbon. So by coming to Portugal, you should definitely not worry about roaming around the streets, may it be during the day or at night. The next advantage of living in Portugal is that you'll be able to protect your wealth better in Portugal than in a number of countries. If you are from the US, UK or somewhere else in the EU, it will not really make any significant difference. But if you are from some more economically volatile country, this is certainly going to keep your wealth safe. So why is Portugal a safe country to park your wealth? As you know, Portugal is in the European Union and uses the euro currency. This allows the country to benefit from a lot of mechanisms to protect its economy. Problems like hyperinflation or capital controls are less likely to happen in Portugal than in most other countries in the world. One of the main mechanisms protecting your wealth in Portugal is that any bank deposit up to 100,000 euros is guaranteed by your national banking institution. Let's say you park 100,000 euros in a Portuguese bank. If the bank goes bust, you will still have access to the funds. Apart from the fact that Portugal is less likely to suffer from severe inflation like the one happening in Argentina or Turkey, the likelihood of suffering from capital controls, which happen in countries like China or Russia, is also much smaller in Portugal. The last advantage of Portugal is its tax system for expats. This only applies for some kinds of expats, as the normal tax rates in Portugal are pretty high and comparable to other high-tax countries in Europe like Germany or Denmark. But if you have never lived in Portugal, you can benefit from the non-habitual residence program. For a period of 10 years, you can have some tax exemptions for some types of income and some tax discounts for other types of income. It is really important to understand that this definitely doesn't apply to all kinds of income. So do not believe anyone saying you can live tax-free in Portugal straight away, as for most people this will not be the case. Still, it is a pretty sweet deal, as there is nothing similar in France or Spain, for example. And that's it for today's video. Congratulations, you have made to yet another video. And as a prize, I'll give you the opportunity to write a comment and say what you think about moving to Portugal. Have you been to Portugal? What is your overall experience in the country? And to end the video, the usual spiel. If you want to travel, move, or invest abroad, hit the like button, check our other videos, book a consultation call with me. The link is there waiting for you in the description. And subscribe. Don't forget to do that. See you next time.